Hello, and this week we'll cover the main lots put on auction by Phillips, Bacs Russo on Saturday the 12th and Sunday the 13th of May here in Geneva. And initially I was thinking of only doing like 1 or 2 video reports, but we know the storytelling talent of Mr. Aurel Bacs, reason why you're actually going to get 5 special videos, because yes, each of the watches presented have some great stories attached to them. And to tell you the truth, I think it could have even lasted even longer thanks to Mr. Bacs' oratory skills. So listen to the man, relax, kind of this whiskey and cigar moment, take it easy, and let's get carried away by these exceptional timepieces.
Always a pleasure being with you. Thank you, Marc-André. You know, the beauty of the auction industry and the beauty of watch collecting is a little bit like Forrest Gump. You never know what you get in a box of chocolate. But to be serious, the beauty is when you discover something you didn't know before. When you find something that has been hidden away for a long time. And the stories are sometimes so interesting, and there are so small details that make it captivating. That's why I chose 3 watches that are maybe not the obvious choices to speak on Watches TV, but to make your viewers aware how beautiful and subtle watch collecting can be. One is here a Omega chronometer. Well, nearly 3/4 of a century ago, Omega developed a caliber that today still enjoys mythical status. It's the caliber 30, and this one is the chronometer version, the 30T2RG. That's a designation, the technical designation. Omega participated with this caliber at several observatory contests, has won several of them, and made, of course, a version for the public. It was a very costly watch, one must say. Basically, here you are to buy one of the most precise watches in the world. It came in different sizes, often with this beautiful chronometer dial with the thin hairlines here. And this watch here was bought in 1946 here in Geneva. And since 1946, it hasn't gone very far from Geneva, and it just came back from the original owner's family. What is so beautiful about it? First of all, the condition. The condition is truly Sleeping Beauty condition. You can see a wonderful hallmark here. The dial has a great patina, wonderful color. It's the way it was 75 years ago. Second of all, with the watch, we get the business card from the shop where it was sold. Henri Blanc, the shop on 37 Rue du Rhône. It's not even far from here. You just walk a couple of 100 meters down towards the lake. A small boutique that Omega, Universal, Longines, a very distinguished name. Together with that, we still have the original box with the Henri Blanc sticker. How beautiful. The watch spent most of its life in here. And something that is really amazing for collectors is that you have the original bulletin de marche, le certificat de marche, for the watch with the number, where the rating of the watch was noted with ink. It says in this position it made +4 seconds a day, in this position it made +6 seconds a day. It was a chronometer, and it had to go to the observatory. And if you think that such a watch can now be found at an auction for 10 to 15,000 francs, a chronometer by Omega with all these accessories that very few only have, I think it also shows that it's not just the stories that we read in the press where the billions and the billionaires are being handed from one auction to another, but it's really a purist's, connoisseur's market. Another very interesting watch that I like a lot, and I think the market appreciates the watch as well, is this Patek Philippe automatic reference 2585. It's a pretty solid diameter, and it has 2, maybe 3 features that have to be stressed out. One is, it's the first time it comes to the auction. It's a watch that has never been offered publicly to our knowledge, and it's only the second example of this reference that comes to the market with a black dial. A beautiful black, sort of, we call them gilt dials. It's a technique, a lacquer technique that is highly complex and that lends it that enormous, elegant shine and appearance. The second element is the condition. The watch is truly in unbelievable condition. Again, very well-defined lux. I see a crisp hallmark, the original PP, the mirrored PP crown, very good case proportion, movement is in beautiful condition, and that brings me to the third point, the movement. It's not just any movement. It's the famous caliber 12-600. That is Patek Philippe's first automatic movement. It's famous because it has an 18-karat guilloche engine-turned gold rotor. And it's the very caliber that we find, for example, in the legendary reference 2526. To many, including myself, one of the most beautiful movements ever made. Sadly, at the time, glazed backs were not yet used, so you can't just casually turn it around and look at it. I think it's amazing value when considering all things of the market and contemporary production, that this estimate is 20 to 30,000 francs. I think there's room for bidders to compete. And you buy a watch that is rare, beautiful, wearable, technically and aesthetically interesting. I think it's really a watch that does an awful lot to a collector. The next watch I'm going to show you is a completely different cup of tea. Of course, a very distinguished maker, Breguet, doesn't need any introduction, but not the Breguet from the times of Abraham Louis Breguet or even the early 20th century. No, it's a Breguet from the late 70s. The 70s have been, as we all know, a dark decade for watchmaking. Why? Because watchmakers lost their jobs because they were replaced, mechanical watches were replaced by electronic watches, quartz watches. And yet some manufacturers continued to make or to retail watches in the old-fashioned way. Of course, they had to go with the style of the era. And in this instance, we have a absolutely quirky, TV-shaped stainless steel Breguet that actually, if you look at it, features the weekday and the date. So it's actually a day date by Breguet in stainless steel. Now, first of all, I love all things 1970s. My friends laugh if I turn my head when a orange or apple green Porsche drives by. I love the furniture from the period. I can also get excited for watches from that period. And this is really a rare bird. I cannot claim having ever seen such a watch. It's in close to perfect condition with nice facets and sharp angles. The number that is very thinly engraved on the back is still visible. And believe it or not, this watch is going on auction this coming weekend for 5,000 to 8,000 francs. And I have to say, whoever gets this, cool, well done. I think it's a fantastic watch.
So stay tuned because we have more coming, more fantastic timepieces to share with you. All the best. See you real soon.